Hi guys! It's Amy with Aim to Plan, and I am here with another video in my holiday planning series. This one all about Thanksgiving. So I am super excited to show you this. This video is actually coming up a little bit later than I had really planned to, but I think it's fine too. This is a video that will be on my channel for forever, and so even though it might not be something that is applicable to you, although I think there's still time to plan for Thanksgiving, but if you are already prepped for Thanksgiving and just are looking for ideas for the holiday season, it can certainly be something that is perpetual and can be used for next year. In fact, this planner I have set up to be the first of very many years, I'm hoping, where I'm going to be using this exact same planner to plan out future Thanksgivings. And so I wanted to be able to show it to you and just kind of talk to you about like the pieces that are in here and what I've got set up, and just I'll do my best to link everything in the description, but I have like all sorts of stuff. I've basically pulled out all the fall and Thanksgiving and ordered a bunch of stuff to be able to kind of put into this Thanksgiving planner. So I'm really excited to show you the whole setup. So just to start off with, the cover set is actually from a release from Heather Kell. This was her Blushing Fall Florals box. It is, at the time of recording this video, her most recent her most recent box release, but it has sold out, and so certainly you can find your own cover or order something from Etsy. It's just something that's not available anymore, but I just really loved it. I love the colors of it. It is something that is my color palette, and so I just really wanted this on my Thanksgiving planner. I also wanted to mention before I jump into the inserts that I use in here, that I initially had this set up with my Halloween, Christmas, and New Year planner as like a transformer planner, but you can see here that just Thanksgiving by itself ended up being like super full, and so I did break up all of the planners into its own separate like holidays. So I do now have basically 3 planners: a Halloween, this Thanksgiving one, and then a Christmas one, which I will flip through on my channel in like the next couple of weeks. So I'm super excited about that one as well. But again, cover from Heather Kell. I did put on like these gold discs. These are from like an older release with the Mickey cutouts, but I am going to change this out so that way I can put this binder or like this like reference source, like this planner, with all of the rest of my holiday planners and have it be part of like my overall home management system. And so I'm going to change out these discs eventually. I just left it on here for the time being since I'm using it currently. But once Thanksgiving is over, I'll probably switch it over so that way it has like the black discs with like my kind of like personal system for labeling where it sits on the shelf. So if you want to see that, let me just pull one example of that. Like, this is one of the books that I have in my home management system, and so this is like volume 3 and I just use a white disc to kind of designate that. So with that being said though, like I've spent a ton of time already kind of just talking about the cover and like just prefacing all of the different things related to this, but let's jump into what I have in here. Now, just to start off with, I do have I already mentioned like a mix of all sorts of different stuff. I'll do my best to kind of label and point out where I got everything, but I will say that for the most part, most of these items came from subscription boxes, including like Heather Kell's subscription box, and so these items are generally speaking sold out at this point, but you can certainly find very similar items released every year. But there is one item that's still on sale from what I can tell, and so I'll definitely link that so that you can have it. So these sticky notes, I decided to put on the back cover here just to be able to use and write on sticky notes, but one of them fell off. These sticky notes came from an autumn color palette from Jane's Agenda. It was her September box released for October, and I have several other items that were from that September box. And so Jane's Agenda, all the items that I mentioned that are from Jane's Agenda, I'll put a description or a link in the description for Jane's Agenda in general, but this box in particular is sold out. So this also came from Jane's Agenda, the same box, the September box. Right here is a piece of vellum. It says Chapter 11, November 2022, and then it has the dates, some of the holidays or like major events for November, and I layered it on top of this dashboard. This one came from Cocoa Daisy. This was Autumn Thicket. This was actually the October box, so you'll see a little bit later that it was actually geared towards October. But because for me, October is mostly Halloween, I decided to save these pages for November. And so some of it doesn't actually work in here. You'll see that in a minute. But this was beautiful. This was Autumn Thicket from Cocoa Daisy. And the sun took a step back. The leaves lulled themselves to sleep. And autumn was awakened by R. Franco. I just love it. It's so beautiful. One thing about the Cocoa Daisy is that they do release a very similar size to the Happy Planner, but it's 7x9, not 7x9 1/4. So it's missing like the quarter on the top and the bottom right there, but I still think like I think that's totally doable. Like it's, to me, hardly noticeable at all. Right, and this is like on super premium cardstock, this like dashboard right here, but on the back you can certainly write here. Right, this you can definitely find. I will link this in the description. This is Williams-Sonoma, and they had a Thanksgiving workbook. It is labeled for 2022. I just decided to print it out. I did print it out on like this yellow, kind of like muted yellow cardstock, but it has several different items here. And so there's a menu planning worksheet with drinks, side dishes, appetizers, main course, breads, salads, and desserts, which that's actually really good. I like that. A shopping list, so it breaks it down into produce, eggs and dairy, meat and seafood, pantry staples, baked goods, drinks, frozen foods, and other. And then this is a kitchen equipment checklist, just to make sure you have all the items that you might not actually use all the time. So things, for example, like roasting pan, roasting rack, turkey lifters, bowl baster, carving board, a flat whisk. So some like very common items. Again, like if you are looking for this or you just want to be able to read through all of these items on the checklist, I will link it in the description so you can see that. I just don't want to spend the entire video just reading things to you. This one says Thanksgiving Day schedule, which is super helpful. Breaks it down by 9 o'clock until 6 o'clock. Now this works if you're doing Thanksgiving Day dinner. I'm actually planning to do a brunch this year, and so I needed earlier times, but that's okay. And then here it says how to set the table, and so if you are celebrating, even if you're celebrating with only a few members, definitely dressing up the table will help with that. All right, and again, I won't like read all that to you, but I will include the printable so you can see that. It was a free printable I found off the internet. Right. Let's talk turkey, how to defrost, how to find the right roaster, how to roast it right, like the time that you need, and then of course like testing it for doneness with your thermometer, how much to make per person. It breaks down by like specific items, like 1/3 of a cup of cranberry sauce. That's a lot of cranberry sauce, I thought, at least. And then here, this is so funny to me. It says wine, 1/2 to 1 bottle per person. That's so funny. That's just me though. Right, then the perfect pie, how to like make lattice. And then this one is for pumpkin pie, how to like, what does this say? It says for a pumpkin pie, use decorative pie crust cutters to create cutouts. That's actually really cool. So again, I haven't really read through this, but I just print out the entire thing. And then this one is like the front sheet for here. It says print out the following pages on cardstock, and then you can use it for like nameplates and like printables for the table. So here's like a thankful for, and you can just kind of set it at the table, and then you can use this for nameplates, and you just cut it along the lines, but then also fold it in half. And then here's some activity sheets. There's Thanksgiving bingo, word search, a pie maze, and then the pie chart, and you cut it out, and then like everyone kind of puts it together. I thought those were like super cute. And then a coloring page. So again, I will link this in the description so that way you can find this free printable. I thought that was super helpful. I thought it had some like fun activities in there, so I printed it out and just kind of stuck it here to the front. And so that was all just kind of at the beginning. And then here I have this calendars and tasks. Now this was actually a book I found on Amazon. Okay, now this was a book I actually found on Amazon, and it had like Thanksgiving planner on the front. Again, I'll link this in the description. I'm assuming you can still find it, but I was just looking for like Happy Planner Thanksgiving planners, and like flipped through like 1,000,001 Thanksgiving planners before I found this one. One of the things about this one was it was in color, and I thought that was like really nice to be able to like have color pages. And so I'll link this in the description so you can see that. And what I did was basically put like these tabs came from the Cocoa Daisy the subscription box, that the the October one, Autumn Thicket. And so I stuck that on there. And in the Thanksgiving planner, it had these pages. So here's September. I'll just say it was like a book-bound book. It was like a paperback. And so what I ended up doing was basically like ripping off the covers and everything else. Like one of the things that the Thanksgiving planner said was like basically can, like, it was compatible to Happy Planner size. And when I got it, I actually did measure it with a ruler, and you know, it was 9 1/4, and then all I had to do was basically be very careful about tearing it off like the glued bound edge, and then I just trimmed it down and punched it. And so I have all the pages in here, and I was able to kind of like rearrange pages too. So it included a September calendar, the October calendar, and the November calendar. And you can see I already started like writing in events here. This is definitely a work in progress. And then it had like at the back of the November, like this notes pages, and I haven't done anything with that. But then right after that, I decided to go back to Cocoa Daisy and stuck in the Cocoa Daisy pages. And again, this is Autumn Thicket, and it was for October 2022, and so I didn't use it at all. I just put it in here. I will probably not use it this year, and I'll probably just save it for November 2023 and just redate it. But these pages are in here, and it is a like the typical like kind of like Happy Planner vertical with the 3 boxes layout, but it has like all of this design. It's just so beautiful to me. It is undated, you can see here, so I definitely have it to use for November next year. Right, and those pages are in here. You get, I think, like 6 weeks worth. Right, and then at the very back, it comes with this notes page with like the checklist. Again, like it's the color palette is just beautiful to me. And then it has what Cocoa Daisy calls the stripes layout, and it's Monday through Sunday. You could do whatever you want with it, but like sometimes, I mean, I've seen people use it for like menu planning, and so you can menu plan here, and then there's like this perforated edge with a checklist, and you could just like fold it in half and rip this page off as like a grocery list, so that would be a good idea. And then there's like a to-do list on the back. This is the one that sticks in the planner, and then there's like a dot grid section that you would kind of be able to tear off and do whatever you want with it, right? And then it came with like I think 5 pages of that. 5, maybe 6, 5 or 6, right? And so I stuck that right there where the weekly sections are, but it goes back to like that Thanksgiving planner. And I've used some of these pages already, so you'll see this as we flip through it. But basically, we have all of these daily planner pages, and they look like this. Actually, let me show you what it looks like. Well, it's fine. I have all my Thanksgiving notes like this. Again, like I've been using this planner. This video is coming up a little bit later than I expected. I should have recorded this before I wrote the stuff in, but it looks like this, the daily planner, and it's just kind of like these pages like front and back. And so yeah, that's pretty much what it looks like. And it has quite a few pages. I think from what I remember, it has like 14 daily pages. So in my mind, that really works because like I'm able to kind of like, I don't know about these weird times. I think the times are a little bit weird, but I also like, just from thinking about it, you could probably do it to where it's like a daily planner for like a single week. So you could do like 5 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then 5 p.m. to 4 a.m. Like it's like 12-hour blocks, if that makes sense. So you could just use like an AM version and a PM version, but I still think the times are a little bit weird, but you know, whatever. But here's the schedule, and then there's a to-do list, and then a notes section, and you have a spot here to put date and then like which day of the week it is. One thing I find weird is like I've noticed like I'm writing in the dates and it's like kind of like in the way, that like leaf right there. But anyway, it works out for me because I think it's just beautiful. All the planners, or like most of the planners that I found on Amazon, are all like black and white on the inside from what I can tell. So at least this one had some color, so that's why I got it. So the second section of that same Thanksgiving planner is checklist. And this is the section that I like am struggling with the most. But anyway, so that again, a Cocoa Daisy tab. And then this, I just took notes on sticky notes, you can see here. But then all of, like underneath this, let me just pull this off. This was a dashboard from Jane's Agenda, and it says, I am out with lanterns looking for myself, Emily Dickinson. Put those back on there. And this is the back of that. And then I was taking like notes on random sheets of paper, so that's there. Again, total work in progress here. And then here is from the Thanksgiving planner from Amazon. This says fall bucket list: drink a pumpkin spice latte, go apple picking, go to a pumpkin patch, have a bonfire, see the changing leaves, attend a fall fair, bake a pie, watch a football game, make a fall craft. So I thought that was super cute. Again, like I like that it's in color. All right, and then here is a chance for you to make your own fall bucket list. So for whatever works for you, right? And then here's a gratitude list, and it has 1 through 15. And then the back of it has 16 through 30. So I really liked that. And then it has a chance for like all these other bucket lists, or like lists. Now this section to me is a little bit weird because it combines like a bunch of different things, like bucket list, gratitude list, and then it has like all these random lists. But you know, it is what it is in terms of like design, right? And so it's like all these blank pages, right? And then I think I think the rest of this, I can't remember exactly the order. So it had a couple of these lists. I thought like it had like 3 or 4. But then I have in here, and this was a Cocoa Daisy like sticky note, but I'll flip to this section. This actually came from the same box that I got the cover from. This is from Heather Kell's, like the subscription box, the Blushing Fall Florals, and it's a daily gratitude. I think there's enough for 30. And so it's empty right here, but it says the best part of today was, I woke up feeling, today I'm thankful for, I went to bed feeling, I'm excited about, thoughts about today, and tomorrow I hope to. And look at this design, it's so beautiful, right? And there was enough, I think, for 30. One of the things that I did have to do, I noticed this, was like, I think it was miscut or something like that. It was kind of a little bit wider than 7 inches, and so I did trim out, cut down like on this side, not the punch side, but on this edge right here, cut it down a little bit so that way it went from like 7 1/4 to just straight 7, so that way I could flip it a little bit easier. But I'll go ahead and show you. I knew there were some other pages, so like there's some more pages here from the Thanksgiving planner. I knew I had it in here somewhere, but I did start using this. All right, so I need to blur this out. These are like prayer notes. All right, so not that, but I'll block this out too. But I did use some of these pages and just kind of like started journaling about my day, and I enjoyed doing gratitude journaling, and so it was really nice to be able to use some of these pages for that. And then I fell off. This was the 5th, you can see here. So I did the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then you can see here I fell off. And so I'm actually probably, I don't know if I'm going to tape it down or not, but I decided like kind of midway, this was actually November 11th. So about like 6 days, like from the 5th to the 11th, but I decided to go ahead and start a like thankful 30 kind of deal with like journaling with me and Sophia. And so every day or almost every day, whenever I remember, we're gonna sit down. I did find a prompt, and I'll like put a screenshot of it so you can kind of see it, and link it in the description. But basically I googled thankful 30 and I found a list of prompts. These are like 30 just like single words that I'm going to use to be able to kind of document year by year like our responses over time. And so the prompt for the 11th was life, and that is of course Veterans Day, and so I journaled a little bit about that. But I decided to kind of do this collage on like green like construction paper with like all these different just like random stickers that I have that I'm just not going to use, right? So I just collaged it on here and just put like all these kind of like messaging type stuff, and then use these stickers which do not go at all with the color, but you know, I'm just trying to use up supplies, right? And I put life, which was the prompt for November 11th, and I talked about Veterans Day, having a healthy baby, and then putting our Christmas tree up. We did actually put it up on the 11th, which I know is kind of a weird day, and it's a little bit early. I normally don't put it up quite this early, but since I'm pregnant, I wanted to have the tree up for a little bit longer so I could just enjoy it and not like feel super stressed about like doing it when I'm super heavily pregnant. So those things happened on the 11th. And then Sophia did this. I did talk to her about like Veterans Day, and so she decided to kind of do like this red, white, and blue theme here for Veterans Day, but she also kind of did this and was spending some time with a cousin of hers. And so she is like, to me, super crafty. Like she somehow just like did these flip ups, and she was so proud of herself. She came and was like, look mom, I made like these flip ups, and I didn't tell her how to do that or anything. Like she just kind of did that herself. And so this is what she did. She put up her Christmas tree too, and so this is her tree decorated to be girly and like with some like ornaments on it, and she has her name and her cousin's name and all that in here. All right, and so that's the 11th. And then we missed the 12th, but then the 13th was animal or animals. I can't remember if it was singular or plural, but I decided to basically talk about like being able to hang out with Sophia. I do call her my monkey just because she was born in the year of the Chinese zodiac sign of the monkey, and so I do reference like the fact that she's part of the year of the monkey a lot and call her monkey. And so this was one that I colored. I did color the other one that was on the same coloring page, but she didn't like the way it was colored, so I decided not to put it in here. Added some stickers. This was from a long time ago, but it was another monkey that I found, again, like just randomly trying to cut out different things and just kind of put it in here. And then she drew this and colored it on the 13th. So that's there, right? And then I also, in the month of November, I don't know exactly when, but we did, for the month of November, we're going through in Wild University, the stenciling course by Chrissy Ann Designs. And so I received as part of that this, they're calling it the Stencil Scientist, but it's this stencil, and it's very reminiscent of animals. I don't know if you can even see it, but it has like this like leopard, and there's like boxes, and it says wild, you know, so it was very animal themed to me. And I honestly love stencils, but these are a little bit too small for me to use. Well, probably the only thing I've used is this, but I do have several other sets of stencils, and so I'm just like, I probably will not ever use this particular stencil. I'll just put it in here. And so that's there. And again, that stuff was all DIY using my craft supplies type of stuff that happened right there. All right, this is a very long flip through. All right, this third section, this came again from the Thanksgiving planner that I found on Amazon, and it says menu planning. This is a section I've been using the most, right? And so it had this divider I thought was super cute. And I just added the little tab from Coco Daisy. And then here, I was making some notes for like basically foods from Colombia. One of the things I like to do every year for like holiday season, like from October through basically January, is to kind of have a theme or like something that I'm doing that's like related overall to some kind of theme. And the one that I wanted to focus on this year was like kind of honing in on like Encanto and like finding some cultural references to Colombia. And so I was doing a lot of research. Some of this isn't like Colombian, but like I was definitely looking at like different Colombian traditions for Christmas, and a lot of stuff came up, and I also found several recipes that are not Thanksgiving oriented. Colombia, the country, doesn't really celebrate Thanksgiving per se, but there's lots of like Colombian foods that I wanted to incorporate, one of which were arepas, which I spelled incorrectly here. I'm so sorry for that. But I also was looking at like several like Christmas dishes, and so I might incorporate that for Christmas in my Christmas planner. And then right underneath this, I won't flip it just because there's some private information on here, but there's a Thanksgiving brunch being offered, and so I included that in there. And again, I have to flip through several pages here just because there's like some private notes for different things that I'm doing. Yeah, so there's several sheets of notes, and again, I've unbound these sheets right here were actually in the fourth section, the notes section. What actually came in this menu planning section, or let me see if I can flip here, trying to cover up some of the private information. It came with like these recipe cards. These recipe cards actually were the second half of this section, and there's like some menu planning stuff. You'll see that a little bit later, but I went ahead and started writing out like some different recipes. This one's a breakfast casserole, which I don't think I'm going to include for Thanksgiving this year. Again, I'm doing a Thanksgiving brunch this year, but I did find this French toast casserole, which I think we are going to have, and then this Three Sisters succotash, which has some roots in Native American culture, and since November is Native American Heritage Month, I wanted to include something like that. It's also, you know, one of those things where we see some of that kind of come up with like Colombian cultures too. I just lost my train of thought right there. Like, you know, one of the things is so sad, like how my mind just goes blank right now with like pregnancy. And then these were the pages that actually came at the very beginning of this menu planning section. I just kind of shuffled things around. Okay, I don't know where I left off or where the video cut off, but basically I was saying that we basically host 4 meals. We are planning to host in 2022 4 meals. So we're doing a Friendsgiving. There's something at church that we need to cook for. Then I host my side of the family this year, so I have a bunch of notes related to that. And then I have my husband's family. They always have a big Thanksgiving dinner. And so all of those notes are kind of in here. And there were, I think, enough pages for like 4 meals, which I think was perfect. I would actually prefer to have just a few more, just because sometimes I do stuff for work, and you know, there's a lot of stuff happening. And again, like I mentioned, the recipe cards are actually the back here, so I just flipped several pages to show you what it kind of looks like when you compare it to like this. And this is the 4th section in that Thanksgiving planner. It just says notes, and I did again already go through and like add in, I did this for the Halloween planner, and I'm doing it for Thanksgiving as well as Christmas, but I'm pulling any Thanksgiving notes that I have and just kind of putting in here as a reference. So this was 2017. I actually partially designed. I actually used like a printable, and like it was for personal use, okay, so don't ding me for copyright, but I like traced over it and like basically like replaced it with some Vietnamese words. So I am Vietnamese, and so it's just nice to like have that in here. So I printed that out, right? And then here again, we are hosting Thanksgiving. It is going to be a brunch, and so I made the invitation on Canva and put that in here. I did glue it down to the Jane's Agenda tissue box, or so the tissue paper that came in the September box that was for October, and so that's there. And then this is Jane's Agenda subscription box, so again, the tissue paper. And then one of the crafts that Sophia's already done, this was in October that she did this, she had to disguise a turkey. It's not very well disguised, it still looks like a turkey to me, but she decided to kind of go a mixed media route. She again is very crafty in my mind, and so she's 5 and like decided to, like picked all the pieces. I just helped her kind of glue things down. She wanted to paint, and she wanted to color, and she wanted glitter, and she wanted to have like a little 3D, like it's like a barrette, and she used felt to create the outfit, used like some beads or like these kind of like pearl sticker things right there. There's pipe cleaner, so she made that. I thought it was super cute. She got full credit for that, 100%. So that's there. And then there's a couple of things here from Jane's agenda. So this is notes 3. It's listed as the quad list pages, and so it looks like this. And so it's just broken down into these quad lists, but I think I'm actually going to move this. I haven't used it yet for Thanksgiving, and so I think I'm going to actually move it to my like New Year's / goal setting planner. I think it might make more sense there to kind of categorize some of those things, but I'm not quite sure yet. Right, but in the notes section for the Thanksgiving planner, the one that this divider came from, it has like these notes pages, and so it looks like this, right? So it just kind of is like blank, and you can kind of do whatever you want, but it's just kind of like front and back. And I did move one set again, like to the very, where was it, like this menu planning section right here, right? I moved it right there so I could write stuff in there, right? And so that was in there, but it came with, I can't remember, like maybe like 8 sheets of that. And then I have in the very back, I wanted to like write out by hand like this article that I read about how Walmart is basically setting all their prices to last year's prices to try to remove inflation. But then I just like wrote it on like 3 lines with the date here, and I might just leave it at that because I'm lazy. It was a very long article, and so that is the full flip through. Now again, it has multiple different pieces. Hopefully you were able to follow along and see where I was going. I forgot to mention this charm right here came from Cocoa Daisy, the Autumn Thicket packet subscription that I have, and yeah, so this is meant to be a very functional planner. I am in here menu planning, writing out all my notes, putting in memory so that way I can reference things year over year. And this is the first year I really think, like for Halloween I was able to find a ton of stuff from previous years, but for this Thanksgiving planner, I was really only able to find the stuff that I put together for the family reunion, which required a lot of planning. But for the most part, we pretty much, like, I don't really take down recipes and menu plan at like that intense level, I guess. I don't really know where those notes are. And so I couldn't find a bunch of stuff for Thanksgiving. So this is the first time I'm moving into like actually doing like intentional meal planning around a holiday. So I'm very excited about that. And despite the fact that I haven't found much of anything, it's still a giant, like, I mean, it's pretty thick, right? But I do have enough pages for like several years. So I don't anticipate like needing to add a bunch of stuff in here. It's just going to be something that I will leave on the shelf for basically the year, and I'll pull out probably in September and just start like writing out some more notes for like when the time comes around to start planning for Thanksgiving. And so that's the plan here, and I'm super excited about it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, everything will be linked in the description, whatever I can find. I'll, if nothing else, link the actual like main website so you can find how to get to some of those things. And they do, from what I can tell, release regularly like subscription or holiday boxes centered around fall/Thanksgiving. And so even if you can't find it for 2022, you might be able to find it for upcoming years. And so yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. And until the next video, bye guys.